Welcome to Board Game Archaeologists. We play time-worn games from the past. I'm Hunter,
I'm Rob,
and today we're looking at Planet of the Apes.
a favorite of mine from 1974. Came out the same year the TV show came out. This is from Milton Bradley, ages 8 to 14. That age thing always throws me off. You're never too old to play games, and some games can be played with younger people. And it's up to 4 players, and it's more fun with 4 players than it is with 2.
And the objective of the game, in this case, is to be the last surviving human.
Yep, basically the game comes with your board, 4 characters of different colors. That is your team, and they're spread out to each of the enter things. This cool cardboard cage and the contraption that, even though it's very simple and worked with a sponge, is pretty random and actually works for what you need to do.
Starting off with the game, the way to determine player, at least based on the rules, is to go by highest roll. But once you figure out who goes first, then it's a matter of rolling 2 dice. And what will happen is you can pick which dice represents a person that's yours and a dice that represents a different human.
Yep.
And so, for example, this 5 can be attributed to, if I'm the blue people, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since there are no other characters out there to manipulate, then the other dice would just be gone.
Yep. And since your object is that, is you're kind of forcing people along with that second thing. And one thing about playing around the edges, these colors do mean something. If you get a 2 on your green and land on the green, the other character cannot move that character. So it kind of if you're playing a 2-person game, you kind of don't want to take anybody out unless you have to, because then you'll only have that one person to deal with it. And that green space becomes really important because when people can move you in, and basically you can be moved in from almost anywhere on the board. And when you're at this spot, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're captured. So the odds of you getting captured are quite good. So you tend not to want to pull all your people out unless you can be on safe spots as much as possible.
Yeah, and a lot of the game is in the defense, where I'm trying to think if there was any games before this. I think that the Bionic Woman used this to some extent, maybe.
Maybe.
But the whole idea of one role being to mess with the other, it was the Ewok game.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Being able to move the other things. The fact that there's never a safe space for players, it kind of functions like a sorry that doesn't have an objective.
Right, yeah, because you're really pushing the 4 players, which you would do in trouble, sorry, aggravation, or whatever, to their doom, hopefully. So you get 2 dice. One is for you, one is for your opponent. If you can move your opponent into the captured zone, they get put on top of the cage. When you're on top of the cage, when that happens, the player who puts them there gets to turn the little dial on the top of this plastic piece, and me, or the person who has their character above, presses it down. It's a sponge hold thing with, like, it looks like this, and if it hits the plastic, it makes the cage fall. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's very random, and it's just, I'm surprised how good that thing works for a game.
Yeah, for such a simple contraption, it really is kind of like you twist it and there's roughly a 50-50 chance that the grate below will fall or not. And essentially, if you get your character put on and they get put into the pit, they are out for the rest of the game.
Right. And you can get your players off by getting your own player to the captured thing, but you're also going to save anybody else on there. So if you were playing a game and you had this many people on, and if you get to come and save yourself, well, everybody gets to get saved, and they all get put on an enter sign. So sometimes it's to your benefit to do that, but a lot of times it's your benefit just to kind of keep the game playing and not save that one person when maybe 2 of your opponents may fall.
Yeah, with this, it's one of those games where you can be aggressive with other players, but it's one of those kind of cruel survival tactics sort of games, which can...
Yeah.
I think there's an element of ugliness that comes from, like, sorry and things that you kind of... With sorry, you can kind of evade people, though. With this, you can always, if there's a person who isn't on their color and safe, there's always that potential.
Yep, you're literally throwing them under the bus.
Yeah.
And that's the game, is you're trying to kill or have all the other humans captured except you, which is just a weird theory for a game.
A really, really weird theme to explore in a game.
You would think there would be an ape involved with it at some point, but it's really humans against humans in this game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. For pros and cons, what'd you think?
I actually liked it a lot more than I originally kind of thought I was, because the safe spaces I thought were kind of easy to get to, but I think in fact I would just get lucky a lot where I'd get onto safe spaces. So that made it so a lot of people's second rolls were kind of for nothing.
Right.
Because if there are no players to manipulate that are outside of the enter zone and outside of their space of color, then you can move them with that second die. Otherwise, it's just a wasted roll.
It's a wasted roll, right?
But no, other than just like the aesthetics are a huge pro for me. I think because when I first looked at it, I did think like, oh, there's gonna be like, and the apes are gonna come into it in some aspect. But no, it's just this horrible, cruel like tadpole pond thing where it's a gladiatorial thing. It's really weird.
It really is, and I think the main thing for me is that the apes really are not part of the game. It's like they built a contraption and made humans play Hunger Games or something, and that's what we're doing. I love the game. The graphics are really cool. They span all the movies. The movie started in '68, and I think finished in '73, and then the TV show was '74. So we have Zira here from Escape the Planet of the Apes because she's got the 1970s clothes on. You have the jailer, probably from the first one, and Zaius, and then a group. I think that's Roddy McDowell. Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the only one that doesn't have Roddy McDowell in it. And it hurts for it, but I still love the movie. I'm a huge fan of Planet of the Apes. John Chambers, the makeup artist, created the look of these apes, and huge part of my childhood. And will always love and own the game. I think it played a lot better than I thought it was going to. We had a fun time. There's a real strategy to it. It's fairly quick. You play it very quickly. And I think it's a really fun game, but don't expect there to be a lot of ape action in this game.
Yeah, the direction was really weird, but it ended up being something I appreciated more than I disliked.
In any game that all the instructions for the game are right here, except how to build the contraption, and that's right on there. I love games that have this many instructions.
Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about us, check us out at toyarchaeology.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and please subscribe to us on YouTube.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.